This is Pooh from the NBA G League Ignite.
So I guess I want to start off I guess with like your high school days at like Sarah.
Yeah,
You graduated in 2002. What was LA basketball like at that time? I know you had yourself, Tyson Chandler, like D'Angelo
yeah,
Collins. Like, kind of talk about
right.
what it was like competing against those
Well,
guys.
my high school career, of course, started in '98. You know, and people, I don't know if people really know this, but I started playing on, on the freshman team. Coming out, and we came from a great program, AAU program called Top Prospects. So, I was one of the top, eighth graders in the city. So, I ended up going to Sarah High School, but at that time they was packed, with juniors and seniors. So, Coach Hurt, rest in peace. He just had a idea. It was like, you know what, I'm not gonna have you play on a JV team because their coach at the time was he was a baseball coach and didn't really have his foundation, but the freshman team coaches was his ex players, his former players, I should say. Eric Reed, coaches Eric Reed and coaches Tyler Laverne, and you know, and yes, I could have played varsity, but I wouldn't have got no time. And he just wanted me like to really get so much reps in. It's all about confidence, right? And but at the end of that season, I got moved up for playoffs. So I belonged. But my high school career, I didn't play AAU. So I wasn't like the one like going to like them big old camps. I wasn't like Nike ABCD. It was so much politics in the AAU world, at this time. So, I was really just playing it, with my high school squad, or, I remember one time I did try to go with Sports Express. I went to, I think it was like Peach Jam, or it was like one of them tournaments. And I was like really just sitting on the bench, and at this time on that team, remember Hassan Adams? Hassan Adams was
Mhm.
amazing.
I remember.
Hassan Adams, that whole
I,
Westchester squad was amazing.
I remember he had like a ESPN like the Life or something. I remember
Probably,
him. Yeah, like him and like Evan Burns, like Fairfax, right?
yes.
Yeah.
But the stars on that team, was like Hassan Adams, it was Brandon Heath, it was Cool Breeze, his name is Keith Everidge, Brandon Bowman, Ashanti Cook. And the junior in that team was Bobby Brown, not the
Yeah.
singer, like LB.
Oh, he has
Um,
that clothing brand. What your ones look like,
what your
right?
ones look like.
Yeah.
So like he didn't really get a chance to play to his senior year, so his story is even more amazing. But when you think about that 2002 class, of course, D'Angelo Collins, Evan Burns, Cy Adams, Brandon Heath, Bobby Jones, at Dominguez. There was a Keon Kindred as well. Carlos Rivers, Reggie Butler. We had like some dominant players. I'm trying to think who was at Fairfax. Craig Smith was 2001. BJ Bell was 2003. But like, it was some squads, but Ray was at Inglewood with, Jason McKinney. It was a lot of us, in the city. And that's why we were good at this time, because all we did was compete against each other. Tim Drisdom at Downey and Richard Cheney and Verb. As I'm thinking about them times, I'm like really like flashbacking, like dang, to those years. But we was so close, so that whole group, a lot of us became pros, in that from that 98 to 2002. But the beauty of that time is Baron Davis was connected to Baron Davis, was connected to Jason Hart, was connected to Mil Palacio. Like I was connected to so many pro players, but BD had his arm around all of us in the community. So that's like he is like the Godfather. So, but everything really started to change in the city when Trevor Ariza and Darrell Wright became pros. Like that's when it was a huge change, because like when like when one of your brothers like that you're next to all the time make it, then it made it more like, oh, this can be a reality.
Like hearing you tell those stories, like now with like rankings and social media being so present, like coming out in 2002, like I remember like there was like Hoop Scoop online, like there might have been magazines. Um,
SoCal, it used to be like my in LA, it was like prep refs, hoops, and like SoCal. I can't like it. I'm being blanked, but those are like the like SoCal hoops. Like
mhm.
those are like the like two big things like coming from the city.
like like how when did like University of Portland come on, or like were there other schools looking at you?
Yeah, uh so going into my junior, going to my senior year of high school, this is summer of 2001. I went to a camp called Superstar. Superstar is in San Diego. And I remember seeing like Coach Rich Wold from Portland, right? So it was some college coaches that was there, and a lot of them was asking like, "Man, what you doing here? Like, what are you doing here?" And I was putting on a show, so Coach Wold ended up talking to Coach Michael Holden, who I had a connection with already, because he was at UCLA, but we already had a connection with him. But Portland had I started to get a lot of like the WCC schools like during my senior year because I was tearing up the city. But Coach Marvin Menzie that was at San Diego State, I was really supposed to go there, but at that time, remember Wesley Stokes? Wesley Stokes at Long Beach Poly, man, he
Names
was
it.
amazing. He used to have like big old hair, point guard, lefty. He was cold. Ended up going to Missouri, but he ended up transferring to San Diego State. So they made that decision, which I definitely understood that. Um, when it was my senior year, that's when I started seeing like Gonzaga, Portland, St. Mary's, USF, Cal State Fullerton. I had an offer from University of Montana. And I tell people this is really from high school basketball. Like this wasn't from no AAU. Like this was just being like at the right place at the right time, and really like I just started really making noise. And Gonzaga was an option, and I think Coach Few vision was for like to redshirt me, and because I had like at that time Winston Brooks and Blake Stepp, that great guards,
Mhm.
and at that time I just didn't know what red shirt was. Like I was like, well, know what like red shirt is and this and that, and um, but I ended up going on a trip with one of my closest friends. His name was Donald Wilson. I didn't even mention Donald Wilson, but we went on our recruiting trip together at University of Portland, and actually, I got to give a shout out to Coach Dart Stamps. Coach Dart Stamps was the one that had me on a three-way with Coach Michael Holden, and we set up that whole call. And ended up taking my trip with Donald, and going to senior practices, and what really like sealed the deal too was we went to the Lakers and Blazers game, and after the game, I ended up talking with Damon Stoudemire, and he was like, "Yo, if you come here, young fella, you got access to me. You feel me? We good. This and that." And I'm like, "For real? Like this Mighty Mouse?" And that made the choice even more easier to commit and then go to University of Portland.
And hearing you talk, like I know you're so connected with like the high school basketball scene.
Yeah.
Seeing these kids now, is there any current player that kind of reminds you of yourself? Any guards out there?
Like I really like Rob Dillingham, of course.
Mhm.
Like I was coaching him at NBA Top 100. It was him and Bronny. Like Bronny is like that point guard. Like his skills is amazing. Who else was on my team at NBA Top 100? Of course, I had Cam Scott. I had Scotty Middleton, Bayfall, Isaiah Miranda. But the ones I gotta give shout outs to my LA crew. Tyler Rollison, like great guard at St. Bernard. But J. Crow Jr. at Linwood freshman, he's gonna be making noise. Gavin Hightower is like the one who's like under my wing right now. He's a sophomore at Windward.
Mhm.
But I'm connected to so many players in the city. If it's Jared McCain, like he came and worked out with us plenty of times. Who else? As in the high school players, Dusty. Of course, Dusty is one of my favorites. Ashton Hardaway, Noah Williams, and Sierra Canyon. The sleeper would be the young boy Zaire at Washington Prep. He ended up committing to Tennessee State. He's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be a sleeper.
Keep an eye on him.
Darius Carr, of course, from Fairfax. But like point guards, um, Gavin Hightower, Kelsey from Bishop Montgomery. That whole Bishop Montgomery got a with Laquan and Xavier and Chris and who else? I'm so connected to like LA. It's amazing. Like they all be working out with me. So
Yeah, it sort of seems like you always hear stories like of like Seattle basketball, like Jamal Crawford and
yeah.
how giving back. It sort of seems like LA basketball and you are kind of like that same way, like how you talk about these kids and I see you like you're glowing. Is it very similar to that city as well?
Oh my gosh. Like, one of the beauties of, like 4 years ago, DeMar DeRozan, he was like, yo, like, you got access to myself and all the homies, and like you should like really be in the city, and like start putting these hometown favorite, camps together where, we bringing in pro players, current and retired, and we give back information. So, I ended up start doing that, and that ended up like becoming like like something big in the city, So we had Russ, James, DeMar, BD, Paul Pierce. Like we have like Derek Martin, Tracy Murray, DeLon Wright, Trevor Reesley, of course, Craig Smith. Like we have so many players from the city. Bobby Brown and I, we do an amazing job as in bringing our homies, and now we're connected with even the college players, the high school players, and both girls and boys. We're really in the city. So, like BD has always been doing that. Like he's always been doing that. So when we first did it, we ended up doing with Rico Hines.
Mm-hmm.
Because one thing about Rico is Rico and BD was really like the first doing the skill stuff, like these camps and all that. Like we were doing this when we were in college, called Rising Stars, and you know, and that's the beauty of what Seattle's doing, and hopefully we're gonna start combining and doing our things together, because if you're really from the city, I don't care if you're from LA, Atlanta, and you're a pro player. If you're not going back and giving back information to the youth, then you're not being that big homie. And our goal is to make sure that these players are better than us. Like that's the goal. If you're a big homie, then you got to make sure that you put in these YGs. You feel me? Um, like on a better path. We got all the game when it comes to how to be a pro on the court, off the court, and we go through so many experiences. It's on us to give back the information, because as pro players, we're at the top, right? Then you got the college players looking up to us, but the college players should be mentoring the high school players, and the high school players should be mentoring the middle schoolers. Like it should be a whole. That's how you leave an inheritance, right? And like that's like what I'm on, and it's not just about basketball. So this past summer, we had marketing and branding. We had people coming in. Jason Brown, who's the CMO of Network. We had so many, like knowing your rights. We had an officer and a lawyer come in to teach. That's why we call it hometown favorites. We bringing in hometown favorites and other professions to teach and give back this type of material to the ones up next. Like that's what we're doing. Like, and we want to be able to do this everywhere else. So, Darrell Wright, myself, Bobby, like Darrell Wright came up with the hometown favorites, him and Delon, and like we're like, okay, if we're really hometown favorites, which we are, then we're gonna get back this information. And that's all the youngins want. The youngins do not want our money. The money they want is the information. And that is it. So I really encourage all the people who's looking at this, all the pro players from the city, man, get back into your community, get with other people that are pro players from your community, if that's in basketball or football, and like give back. Like, please give back.
Yeah, that's amazing. Hearing all those names, like sometimes you hear like New York, like it's known for having like the flashy guards or guards from Chicago or like tough like defenders, and you never really hear like LA have like a specific play style. I guess. Is there like when you think of
We
LA
got it
players?
all.
Yeah,
We got it all. And that's why people don't be rocking with us. I mean, we got it all. Like, and like people like they will go to, man, LA soft. Like, and I'd be like, who? Like, who is soft? Like, it's nobody that y'all can really name. They'll be like, oh man, LA, like, nope, we're not soft at all. Like, that's not us. But of course, like, we're not having to like, shovel the snow, or we're not going through that. But man, everybody in my circle, we tough. Like, and we ain't getting punked or none of that. Like, and that's not saying we punking other people, but we're not. We like, so when it comes to hooping, we're able to shoot, we're able to dribble, we're able to do it all. Like, and that's LA. Like, we playing outside, we could play outside all day, but we could play in the gym. So I never understood like, where that term from being soft come from, but you know, us, man, we hoop. Like, we could pass, we could dribble, we could shoot, we can do it all. Because I feel we were always connected to those type of pro players giving back.
I was looking at your college stats and saw you like greatly improved your 3 point shooting from your freshman to sophomore year. Was that a big focus for you going to your
Yes,
sophomore
so,
year?
yes, like one thing about Portland, like Portland's my second home, and they are known for developing players. If it was Bano, if it was Cowan, rest in peace. Like, my coaching staff, amazing. Like, you gotta think, my coach Michael Holden, he was a pro player, right? He was in the NBA. He did it all. So I was really getting that type of information from somebody that I wanted to be like, and that was the beauty, because a lot of people are not able to get that type of information. Like high school, my my high school Coach DeJuan Hurt, rest in peace, he played in the backcourt with John Stockton at Gonzaga. So I was able for 4 years to learn from somebody of where I wanted to go. Like, he played college. Then when I got to college, my coach played in the pros. Like, so that's 8 years of information. So when it came to my freshman year, I think I averaged probably like 8 points, 9 maybe. I was so big on form shooting. Like, that's all I used to do. Like, even like doing like our school is known for soccer. Like, we always had great soccer programs, but it used to be that toss back machine. We didn't have no gun. We didn't have that. So we used to put like a toss back, and like, if you shoot it, the ball would bounce off the toss back to you. So I used to do so like chair shooting and form shooting. That's what like definitely helped me. But that summer, from my that summer going into my sophomore, I was able to start working out with pros. So now I'm with Lucius Harris, now with Mil Palacio, now with Baron Davis, now with Jason Hart, now with Earl Watson. So now I'm able to like learn even more. So when it came to shooting, I was with Lucius Harris. Like, that's who I was with. And I was always coming back home, or would be with, Brandon Heath, or, Bobby or Marcus Williams. Like, our group, like I said, was so close. So, we was just working on, and I knew, because I was starting the end of my freshman year. I was starting, and I knew that I had to have an impact, going into my sophomore year, which, I was able to almost double my stats. So
And I'm pretty sure it's like from that 2002 class, you have like, JJ Redick, Amari. I'm fairly certain you're probably the only guy from your high school class that's still playing professionally. Like I know
yes,
Melo's a free agent, right? What was like like what keeps you going? Like what like when all these guys have retired, like how like what's inside of you that keeps you still playing?
I tell people, like, everybody has their own story, right, and fingerprint. So I thank God so much for allowing me to be able to be in my position now. As in, this is year 17 for me. But what keeps me going is, I think the last, like, last 5-6 years, I was really able to be with the youth, and I was able to be with, high school players and college players who were pushing me. So being, with Dev in the lab, Dev, that's my trainer, and you know the group that we're creating at that gym every day, man, they push me so much, and I'm able to keep up. So I never really changed my training. Like, I go hard. Like, if people know me in the city, they know I'm up at 6 or 7. I'm in that gym. Now, being with Gil, being with the dunk master, like, he definitely, now Gil, he's on that. Are you dunking yet, nephew? Or are you doing? I'm like, Gil, like, I am not trying to dunk. Like, I am what, but he got my legs so strong, so I'm able to keep up with, my teammate Scoot Henderson. I'm able to, I got to keep up with him every day. Like him in London and all our draft prospects, I got to keep up with them every day. So, I thank God for allowing me to have a strong foundation, and I feel like, this is just part of my story that he has me on. Like, I know people retired early, the Adam Morrisons, the Brandon Roys, I don't know if LaMarcus Aldridge is still playing, but I'm able to, keep up, and my body is not tired. It's not like I'm aching or man, my body feel great. And it's still fun, and I'm able to give back information. One thing that people gonna get from this interview is I'm a messenger and servant, and I really want to make sure that these young men and women have the information to be great. Like, that's all I want. But I also want you to know, like, I really feel basketball chooses you, right? Basketball chooses you, but at the same time, basketball is that tool, but you always got to have another hobby. And that's what I'm really trying to focus on, and with the youth in LA. Like, what else? What else can keep you going? Like, if you do want that Benz, how you gonna get it? Like, how you gonna get it? Like, if it's not basketball, hopefully it's something else.
Yeah, and I know you mentioned Scoot Henderson. How special of a talent is he, and what's
Yeah.
it like seeing him develop?
Yeah. So, like, this is my second year with Ignite, and being with Scoot, like, one thing I want people to know about Scoot is, like, like Scoot as a person is amazing. If you go look at Scoot's story, like on IG, he posts his teammates. Whatever his teammates is doing, he's posting on his page. So it's so much bigger. Like, now with Scoot on year 2, because everybody know what Scoot can do. Like, my main thing with Scoot is, who else can we have from our team to come to the party, meaning the draft? Like, yes, you could be a top 2 pick, but, like, who else gonna come to that party in that first round or that second round? Like, who else? Let's make sure we can get everybody drafted. And one thing that Scoot is on, he's on, like, him and his family, like, man, shout out to his whole family, man. Like, Scoot family they have a foundation and a plan, and they are sticking with it. But Scoot, he listens, and he understands. Like, Scoot and I are close. Like, and we've been like that since last year, and even, like, we stay in touch this whole summer. Like, and now we back at it, and the information. Come on, that one two dribbles. Let's get to the pull-ups. We all know we could get to that basket, and Scoot is amazing. Like, it hit me, like, when he was playing in the Rising Stars game last year. I said, Scoot, like, you're in the Rising Stars while everybody else in your class is in the McDonald's game. Like, that's OD.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, bro, you're in the Rising Stars. Like, of course, like, Scoot, it's no way Scoot should have been playing high school basketball last year. No way. Because he is a pro, but he's a better person. And I want people to really know that, like, Scoot is an amazing person.
And what was it like playing that game against being a part with that game with like him versus Victor, the hype, and being in Vegas for that?
Bro, that was an amazing show. Oh my gosh. Like, I was like, first game, like, I don't think I played until the fourth quarter, right? But that first half, like with Victor and Scoop, was like, it was amazing. Like nobody didn't want the game to end. Like because it was so good. They was going back and forth and they ended up coming back and we ended up like of course getting the win. But that second game, like that Victor put on a show. Victor, but like what I loved about Victor and his teammates, because I played against, in France in 2015. So, I had a relationship with a couple of the players, on the other team. So, and the head coach. So it was great. I think it was a great thing for basketball, like for everybody to see the future, So I just pray that Victor and Scoot, have healthy seasons and they're able to adjust to whatever comes their way.
And speaking of international basketball, I know you played with Ukraine, right, in the 20 FIBA World Cup
Yes,
2014.
yes, please pray for
Yeah.
Ukraine.
Yes. What was that like playing against like US? I think was Russ and Harden on that team.
Yes.
What was it like? Like
Oh
three
man,
LA guys.
bro, they could now. I knew the whole team.
Hmm.
Like so. One, I played with Sacramento Kings in 2010. So me and DeMarcus Cousins are. That's my brother. That's my brother to this day. And I remember I was telling Clay like that summer. I was like, bro, I'm playing against. I'm playing against y'all this summer. He was like, "What you mean playing against us?" I was like, "Yeah, I have, I have a Ukraine citizenship." And he was like, bro, how do you have Ukraine citizenship? I said, bro, like, I got it, like, and that game, I'll never forget, as we're like in warm-ups, DeMarcus Cousins is trying to get my attention. And he like, Pooh! And I'm focused, I'm like, I'm going to my layups. He like, Pooh! And I'm not paying attention to him. And he he keeps saying my name, Pooh! And I'm looking, he said, you ain't no goddamn Ukrainian. And I looked at him, I said, bro, what you doing, bro? Like, what are you doing? And he was, I knew that would get your attention. I love you, boy. And, and just, I remember like Kyrie, like at the free throw line, he was like, Pooh, how did you get this, bro? Or, James and Russ, like, they just like, and I was always seeing them like, doing that whole week, like, cause James, Russ, and DeMar, was James, Russ, and DeMar on that team? Yes. No, I don't think Russ was, right?
This I'm trying to remember that team because I
I
was this
think
like the
DeMar, Russ, James, and Clay.
because yeah, if it was that, it might have been similar to the 2016.
I don't think Russ was on that team. I don't think Russ was on that team. It was just James, Russ, and Clay.
Mhm.
Because it was Kyrie and Steph and D Rose.
Yeah, that's right. Because Steph played it in 2014, but I don't think he played in the 2016
Right,
Olympics.
right.
Yeah.
So like, and it was definitely weird, before the game, the national anthems, and when the national anthem come on, especially the Ukrainian one, like my teammates and I, we were like, we're hugging, we're in a line, we got our arms across each other and this and that. So, but when the USA came on, I had to like tell them like, yo, like, come on, guys, like, I have dual citizenship. So, they understood that, but they know when it came to like, the game, like, let's get it because we're trying to win. So, but the whole Ukraine thing started, in 2007, playing with BC Kiev, and the owner of the team, Sasha Volkov, who played for, the Atlanta Hawks, he ended up becoming, the president of the Basketball Federation, and it's all about relationships, the relationships part. So
Speaking of like international basketball, like what piece of advice would you have for like high school kids?
one thing I always tell like the players who's stepping into the international basketball life or scene is you gotta love it. Like you have to love it. And when I say that is it's gonna be times where you're not gonna get paid on time, right? And it may be a month or 2 months or 3 months late, and I tell people this, like players that play international basketball, I feel love the game more because of that part, right? In the NBA, yeah, right. You're not gonna be getting delayed your check like a month or 2 months or 3 months. So and people in Europe are internationally, they're still playing, so that's the love of the game right there, right? So it's different. You gotta adapt, man. You gotta adjust. You know, you gotta celebrate the culture. You gotta be out there, and get in with the locals, because you're there for 10 months. So the game is different. What we've been taught, as in like, when you get the outlet pass and you run with it, that's travel. That's travel in Europe. But it was times we had to learn. But if you look at the players that play in Europe, the American players that play in Europe, they get a lot better. The teaching, there's some great coaches. I was able to play in Ukraine. I was able to play 2.5 years in the ACB. In Spain, I was able, to play in Israel. I was able to play in so I was able to do some amazing things, but I celebrated the culture. I didn't say like I'm American. Man, forget all that. I'm a human being, and they are too. And the incredible relationships and networks that I have in each country, man, like I love it. I'm so happy that God had Europe and me playing overseas for that long, in my life, and then going to China, and oh man, that was like the best time. But the reason why China worked for me is it was about getting them better. It was about getting my teammates better. And I was able to do that. I had like 2 MVPs, and I was able to play. And it's about teaching, and that's the longevity. Like, yes, they want you to score, but can you make us better? And once I got that mindset from us, Marbury, like, I was like, this is the way. Okay, yes, you do have to win, but the words start going out of what type of person you are. So mentally, oh man, you gotta be ready, because them hotels and that life and this and that, but it's great. Like, it's great to be able. I was able to travel around the world doing what I love to do, man. It is nothing better than that. And like I said, I thank God I was able to like bring my grandma and my moms to Israel. Like, I
That's
was playing
awesome.
in Jerusalem, bro. I read the word. Like, I read the word, and my grandma is in the church. So I was able to bring my grandma to Bethlehem. We went to the Dead Sea. We went did the seen the 17 steps of Jesus. Like, we was able to be involved. Like, and I tell people, once I got to Jerusalem and I was locked in, especially when my wife, we locked in. That next year, I went to the NBA, full guarantee. And I was coming. I was, like you just said, I was six man, Israel. So, like, you got to be able to grind. Like, I did 5 years of summer league straight, 5 years straight. I think I'm like top 5 in all time games played in the NBA summer league. Like, but I accept it. I accept it. Oh, okay, y'all not with me. Okay, I'm gonna go overseas. Come back. Oh, y'all not with me. Okay, you got to be able to accept this grind. But while you over there, you got to not work before practice, after practice. Like, you got to put that work in. Like, if you look from, like I just said, like, I had to play freshman basketball in high school, went to University of Portland, like that's like mid-major, WCC, like, of course, with Gonzaga and St. Mary's, and we always had a great schedule. I always had to get it and earn it. So, but me as a person, like, I'm able to fit in wherever. It didn't matter. Like, it didn't matter. Like, my Sarah High School in Gardena is basically it's blacks and Mexicans, or Hispanics, I should say. And when I went to the University of Portland, it was a whole culture shock. It was nothing but white people, but I was able to fit in. And the thing is, I wasn't trying to be like, no, I'm mingling with every ethnicity. Like, it didn't matter. And it was the same it was the same love. I tell people all the time, I never had a racist experience in school or this and that. Like, it was all love, because that's what all I was showing it. So it's just that mindset. Like, once I had to just go, like, like, just gotta go through things, but the goal is, like, to, like I said, never tire of doing the right things. Like, what's right. Like, the right things to do. Like, But you already know it's a circumstance if you do the right things and you do the wrong things. But I always wanted to make sure, like, that one of my main things, you gotta, I love my neighbor like I love myself. Like that's like the motto that I really go by.
Yeah, do you think you'd be like would have went high major if you had like, Baller TV or like, Slam there
Oh my
covering?
gosh, if I had BallerTV, oh man, y'all would have been loving me. Oh, y'all would have been loving me, man. Like the world definitely would have knew me a lot sooner, for sure. But at the same time, I'm glad I didn't have that. I'm super glad I didn't have the Baller TVs or the Slam because I'm watching others. I always tell, yeah, y'all might be ranked in this and that, but somebody is out there hunting. I was hunting people. Like I'm like, ooh, oh wow, D Brown, ooh, oh, I can't wait to play D Brown. Or, ooh, whoever, Sean Dockery, or it didn't matter. Ooh, everybody in the slam. I used to the slam at 7-Eleven, going through it, like, oh, who in there? Okay. Like, so I tell people, y'all better be on y'all game. You better be on your game because people want your spot. I was the one. I was the one that wanted. I was like, ooh, I can't wait to have my own article and this and that. Can't wait. But that was just my mindset. Like I was on that. Like, oh yeah, hunt. You want to be hunt or hunted?
You ever YouTube yourself? You have such a like cool, diverse highlights from like your Draft Express interviews to Drew League
Yeah,
highlights. Like I feel like no one has a catalog like you on there.
I know. Like my son EJ, he's 7. He always on YouTube, like looking up, like my highlights, or looking at my sister highlights for track and field, or like my best friend is Baron Davis, so he's always like dang, look at Uncle BD, like he's like, dang, they don't look like Uncle BD now, but like I'll be telling him, I said, he's like one of the greatest players I've ever seen, but Uncle BD, like, yeah, he bad. You gotta watch him. So when I see like them highlights, I'll be smiling. I'm just thankful. I'm thankful that I'm able to have highlights. Like people got to give thanks for that. That people take their time to put out clips of you. Like you better be thankful. That people are taking that time to do that. So, man, for everybody out there to have clips of Pooh Jetter, man, thank you.
Yeah. So your son's 7, so he'll be on Baller TV soon, probably like 3 years.
Oh my gosh, yes. Just give us, 2-3 years. Woo! BD son too. BD son plays. So that's gonna be a crazy backcourt. But please be on the lookout for Jason Crow Jr., Todd Ariza. Be on the lookout. Mari Cuff, be on the lookout. Oh, we got some youngins out there. Boogie, I know you out there. Oh man, we got some youngins that are special.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I look up some of those highlights, and then yeah, my last question is, um, if you now in particular like rank your top 5 all time, I guess, high school players from Southern California, LA.
Oh, okay. Ooh, yes. I'm gonna say the ones I've saw with my own eyes.
Mhm.
But of course you got Baron Davis, of course. Please let me shout out Brandon Granville. I gotta, even though he's not on my top 5, but Brandon Granville, Gene Parker, Danny Walker. I gotta shout out those. Tyson Chandler was amazing. And like people don't even know, like Tyson Chandler. Wow, man. Like, shout out Marlon Palmer. Marlon Palmer was probably one of the best PGs in his class. Wesley Stokes. I'm just naming people. My bad. I'm just naming. I saw Gilbert Arenas give Crenshaw 46. I saw that game. Like amazing. Shout out to Joe Ship, Tony Bland.
If you want to do like a starting 5, you can include yourself.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
bad.
no,
My
yeah.
bad. Yeah. Starting 5. I will have Baron Davis. My 2 guard. Would it be Gilbert Arenas? Would it be Casey Jacobson? I'll go with Baron, Gilbert, Tayshaun Prince. 4. What I seen with my own eyes. Is it Craig Smith? Is it Andre Patterson? Is it D'Angelo Collins? I don't know, but my 5 will be Tyson Chandler for sure. My 4, would it be Eric Sanders? I've seen him give people buckets. My 4. I don't know, it'll probably be Craig Smith. Craig Smith was incredible, man. Like, like he was incredible. With my point guard, you got Marcus Williams and Brandon Jennings. Of course, yeah, myself. I was definitely. I'm a player from LA. Like, I should be ranked in the tops. Like, if we talk about basketball career, I didn't even mention Andre Miller. Andre Miller is a tremendous help,
For
with
Bidet,
us in our
right?
community. In our community, Andre Miller is the person. And congrats, Andre Miller. He's the coach now for Grand Rapids in the G League. Wish you great luck. Then, you got Jason Hart. But we have so many. Wait till y'all. I'm not even going to. We're going to have a special announcement coming soon. I can't wait for the world to hear this announcement. I can't even tell y'all what's coming. I can't even tell y'all.